Hello, everyone. I think I'm back in the game. Is it? Am I? I'm as always. I'm really terrible at this, and I'm learning every day. But it seems like maybe I'm live, and maybe I even I was live before I wanted to. But anyway, today welcome. I'm Philip. I am doing a live stream every Friday, hopefully, about um, game development. I'm game like I'm doing game development for. Oh, this is super distracting. How do I? Oh, no, sorry. I need to put this away. I can see myself there. Okay, so once again, I'm building what's called gamebook, which is this uh, like hybrid between a computer game and a book. And you probably are thinking, if you're new here, you're thinking, well, that's what like text adventures and interactive fiction is. But like what I see it as is more, you have the full simulation of a computer game like Skyrim, but you render it in text. So instead of like rendering an orc that goes and slashes you, we in eGamebook we still simulate the same thing, but then we say it in text. We like say goblin comes after you. And so if you've been watching the stream, it's mostly me like doing the game in this. Once again, I don't know if you can see it, but in this environment, which means even though it's actually normally a mobile game, I am playing it on the command line because it makes it much faster for me to iterate. And then when I'm happy with something, I release it as a game, which is like there's obviously work on the UI of the game in on mobile, but that's not, we're not there yet. Cool. So today, to get back to programming as quickly as possible, I thought we might wanna go with doing something that I call the director, and this is something that so we have this simulated world in which the player goes and they can do a lot of things, like they can fight and they can like hire NPCs since last week, and they can go through different rooms. They can necromance, they can turn people undead, and other things. And so all these things happens, but we don't want the gay like if this is the only thing that's happening, then it gets into this rut of like going through this world that just reacts to you, instead of having a world that kind of lives by itself, right? And so normally this is done in games where via scripting events and stuff like this, where or sometimes simulation as well, where like think about Skyrim, I guess. I'm not sure. Where you come to a place, you know, a few hours of play later than before, and the place is different and it changes. There's other people there, and maybe because you liberated some town, now the town is happy or whatever. So it looks more like a lived-in world. This again, this is either simulation or scripting, often scripting. So you need some actor or you need something that will change the world outside of the player's kind of field of view, and make things happen. So this is a conundrum for us because, as I said in one of the previous episodes in eGamebook, like only actors can do so. The player, the NPCs, and the monsters, only actors can change the world. Like they have actions that they can perform, and then the world is changed. Otherwise, the world is immutable. So I think the best approach here is to say, you know what, the that we will have a special kind of actor who will be kind of invisible. He will be like, he will be or she will be a director. I actually think she will be a director. It's a her. So she just like watches what's going on in the game world, and she has scripting events, or she can actually, because all the NPCs and monsters have some artificial intelligence in them, she could, in the future, she could even think ahead and say like, okay, if I change this, or if I like create an earthquake, what will happen to the player? If the player dies, then I probably, as a director of this whole thing, I don't want that, right? But if the player has some interesting choices in the future, then yeah, I'm going to create an earthquake. So that's director. I think the game that popularized this was it's Left 4 Dead, which I'm gonna play this evening. It looks like, and the Left 4 Dead is like a shooter, but what they had is a director. As like nowadays, probably many games have it, and that was also like an actor, invisible actor in the game that was watching what's going on, and if things got a little less intense, then it would like throw more zombies at you and so on. So that's what we'll be doing today. Okay, let's see. I am live. Thank you, Venetos. Hi, Gundai. Hey, I'm also very excited about this. So let's do that. Okay, playing the game first, so that we know like what this should look like, right? So wait a minute, do you see this? You don't. Oh, you do. Okay, I thought I was doing something like, I thought I had my big face over the whole thing, but okay, that's okay. So we're looking at this part of the screen. Actually, let me make it a little bigger. So we're playing. We could play test and stuff like this, but like the director makes most sense in something like a full game, right? So we have, I'm not going to read through all this. These are some like starting scripting things that I experimented with. It's not at all fully implemented, and it's probably going to be rewritten many times. But basically, we have some initial fight to let the player into the simulation as soon as possible. And as some of you know, I can totally cheat because I'm the developer. So while some things, as you can see here, are I have only 41% chance of actually successfully stabbing the goblin, I can do poof, and I've done it. Instead of enter, I pressed S, and yeah, that's what I do. And now like the first part is over, and I can go to the pyramid. I can like get rid of these by reading them, and then I have some NPCs here. I can talk to the NPCs. There's a person called Blind Guide. His name is just whatever. We don't want that yet. We also can go to the trader's shop, and this will all, again, this is a hugely drafty thing, but we're in the trader's shop. We can talk to the trader. We notice that there's his son, Leroy, and the trader is like, well, Leroy is like, I want to go kill the goblins that are outside my town, and his father is not super happy about it. And you have the option of saying, oh, you know what, Leroy, probably I'm not gonna hire you because I don't want to be responsible for your untimely death, maybe. And this is not a scripted thing, right? So Leroy can totally go with you. You can together you can do whatever, and then he goes back to his father, and that's fine. Or at some point during a fight, he could get killed, and then that's kind of You can probably leave it at that. I don't know. It's like you can also turn him undead, whatever. So okay, Leroy, we're gonna hire him, and now he's in our party, and he has a dagger and a shield, and then we can go to the west, which we now know, hopefully, that in the west there's goblins, and we're outside the pyramid. For those that keep track of the things that happen in the game, again, very draft. So what I wanted to use director for first was like we go, we either kill the goblins or not, and then if obviously if Leroy dies during that fight, then the director doesn't really need to do that much. He could like, or she could, yeah, she could do something, but mostly it's on you. Like you'll probably go to the father and tell him what happened. But we could also, well, if he doesn't die, Leroy, if he doesn't die, and we successfully like take care of the goblin problem, as is very cliche in a fantasy game, then we can ask the director to be like, at some point, Leroy should probably leave your party because like he's done enough, right? And that begs the question: why shouldn't Leroy himself leave the party? And that's an interesting question that I don't know if I want to go through. But like the short answer is every NPC would always want to leave your party, right? Because in this game, NPCs can predict or like try to predict what's in their future, and so if we gave them the option of like voting at any point if they want to be in your party or not, they would look in like one path is stay in the party and probably get killed, or the second path is don't stay in the party and never get killed. So obviously they would always leave. So we want this. This is the kind where you know, like we could try to game this and give them like some reward for staying in the party, but it's, to be honest, it's much better for everything if we are kind of directing this. Like if we have a director who is saying no, right now like your party is too big, one of the people needs to go. All right. That means that we can go west, and now we have a fight where there's a goblin and then there's also Leroy. We can wait and see what Leroy does. See, this is all wow. So I wait. Leroy thrusts the long dagger at the goblin's eye. The goblin jumps back. Oh, slashes empty air. The goblin thrusts at Leroy's torso. Leroy leaps back, but he's not fast enough. The goblin impales Leroy's chest. He's dead. Ugh. Okay, we can turn him on dead. So I raise my hands over Leroy and he opens his eye. He stands up and picks the shield up. The goblin tries to ruin my stance. Okay, so the goblin is like ignoring Leroy now. He's trying to fight with me, and I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to swing back at the goblin. The goblin tries to dodge, but I slash his thigh. He falls down and grunts in pain. Okay, I'm gonna just slash him from above. Yeah. So okay, so what happened now? We had a fight with Goblin and Leroy died, and I turned him undead, and now we have an undead Leroy and dead Goblin, and we can sneak our way towards. We sneak around. It's only 3 goblins. There are other goblins. I don't have that implemented yet, but like in the full game, this would be just like basically a warning fight where we're like, oh, okay, there's some goblins here, but not a big deal. And then if we really want to kind of complete this quest, we need to actually somehow get rid of these 3 goblins. And also there's gonna be a little bit of like spying, like you can sneak around for a little bit and find out what they're doing there. So but anyways, we don't have that yet. We sneak through the bushes and we're back in the village, the Bleeds, and we can go inside the trader's shop, and I don't think I have it implemented yet, so trader pretends to smile sweet trader's shop. Okay, yeah, that's kind of sad. I just came into the trader's job with his undead son. Yeah. Anyway, so he's dead, which would be probably not a big deal. But what we want to do is, if I mean, it's not something that the director can really do something about if he's dead or undead, because we're a necromancer. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that things are happening, right? So I actually started implementing this a little bit already. You can see this, right? So I have all these things, and then I have the actor, and the actor is anyone, monsters, NPCs, the player, and most actors are not directors, but there is one. We should probably check that there's only one director, and the director has a director capability. Some of you maybe remember the NPC capability from last time, where we're like, not every actor is being able to be hired, and in the same vein, not every actor is a director. But if they are, then they need some additional fields probably, which track things that they are thinking and so on. So okay, so we already have this implemented. We could actually, let me comment. So I use this, and yep. So at empty director ability. Okay. Yeah. So now we need to make sure that the director, so we will create the director actually. So we will create the director. Maybe the simulation is the director. Yeah, I think that's it. So final actor, directress if it's a she. I don't know. Actor initialized, and so it's gonna be something like, oh man, I always player ID. What about Brian ID? Oh, okay. All right, director ID, I guess. We should also, I'm kind of terrible at this. I'm just like putting random numbers here. Director ID is 0. Okay. Also, what? Oh. Already sorted. Okay. So director ID director, just so that and basically like this, everything else should be not she can be in this room. Oh, you know what, just is director true, which by the way just creates all that it does. If is director is true, then director will be, oh, coffee, time for coffee. Director, yeah, we'll create the director capability builder. And so you can see it's currently just basically this is we don't even want to use it probably, but I just want to have a way to flag someone as a director and also have a way to add some components later to that. Cool. So so we have the, no, we don't have the director because you know what, we actually never use it. So now we have this, and we're just gonna add director over here. Over, okay, where is this going? Right, where is this going? Yep. So the world has now a director character. And that is pretty sweet. Now, this will probably break everything because the director, we currently don't like none of the systems know about this like special character that is a director, and we now want to basically say, hey, like most things will never use director as an actor. So for example, like fight situation should not have a director, right? So, and I think that should be just, that should be like, you know what, she may not even be in directors. Actually, that's probably better. Okay, so I mean in actors. So the director should not be in actors at all. She should be in the world by herself. That's much better. Am I overcomplicating this? Probably not. There will be a special character called damn, at this point, do we even want her to be an actor? Yeah, I think we do, because at some point we might want to, I mean, it's always like, it's mostly a stupid idea if you say, oh, we might want to do this, and then you never do. But no, in this case, let's just do it. So instead of adding the director to all the actors, which is like here, we will actually have in world state, we will have an actor get director, and this is the director of the book. She can change the state of the world at select points. For example, when the player is not looking. You know what I mean? Okay. So we have a director here and it's not nullable. Oh, director builder needs to have that as well. Actor, builder, director. How is this already sorted? That's not already sorted. Wow, I think my sorting doesn't work at all. Good. So we have the director here now, and so all we need to do is in edgehead lib, instead of putting her here, we need to say director is director. Wait a minute, what? Oh, to builder, okay. I think this will actually break a lot of stuff, because we don't always have. Maybe director should be nullable. Yeah, probably. It's at least for now. Yeah. What? Two for five. 2 for 5. What? Ooh. Agile lib. Oh. Two for 5. Why is it? That's not null, is it? Okay. Okay, I think director is nullable then. Which makes sense. But at some point, nullable. Okay. Too fast. It wasn't. My builder was slower than I, so things like this happen when the builded classes are not yet done. What? Okay, failed assertion. Seed is not true. Well, that's new. Stateful random. I think I know what this is about. This is about 23, and we're using it in many places. Build humanoid. A humanoid. $13. Okay. Actor. Actor 77. Oh, okay. Okay, so director cannot be. Director cannot have ID of 0. La, 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 director. So director ID needs to be something like -1. Okay, I should also check the chat. Wow. I know this is complex and out of scope of the current episode, but are the characters aware of their relationship with other NPCs? Not yet. It was one of the first things that we did. That I did in this game was actually having complex relationships between the characters, and characters like remembering things that were done to them or to other people. And it was like there was like one of the iterations of this game was like, oh, let's make it about relationships, so not not about combat. And this didn't pan out that well. It's something that I still have in my backup pocket if I ever want to create a new game. But right now I'm like, no. But a good question, because that's I mean, at some point we will have a little bit of that, but not as complex as I had it before. Uh, yeah, like the example of the shopkeeper and the guy who you hired, Leroy, his son. Obviously, that will be a great example. I think it's much easier for me to script this, right? Like in as in any other game, like in Skyrim, I'm the human. I can kind of say, okay, so what would happen if the shopkeeper like sees his son returning from on a dangerous fight, right? I could try to simulate this, but I think then it would get either too complex for me, or it would be not really good. Okay, let me look back at what's going on here. To builder was called on null. How is this possible? Wait a minute, I thought I fixed this. Oh, try to build class actor, but nested builder for field director. Through try to construct class director capability with null field is active. This is for Bolton. Yes, I'm sorry. That's not good. That just means that I need to find actor, and here I need to say that's not fun. Let's do something like I know what. Is active is always true. What? Yeah, okay. Okay. Now okay, so this is like so far we have not really done much, but thinking is also working, right? So we now are able to have a director, and so this is okay. So now most things will never yeah, most things will never do yeah. Roaming is actually I probably need to create a new situation, and that situation is whenever the player comes into a room that is idle, I can what's happening here? Okay, good. Yeah, it looks like we fixed the problems. So yeah, so as I said, every actor or every situation has a different set of actors, and they can always act on things that are happening. And what I want to do is I want to have a special situation, which is basically like this like contained thing where some actors can act and some cannot. And in this situation, I want to be able to only have the director. The alternative is to have the director only act in the room, what I call the room roaming situation, which is when people are like, when there's, yeah, maybe let's start with that instead of creating a new situation. So right now, the room roaming situation only ever lets the player to roam, which is fine for now. We could, in the future, we could get other actors to roam around, or we can just use the director to kind of move them as set pieces. But if we're in an idle room, so let's see. So the current situation, yeah, current room name, okay. So we'll find out. So get room by name, current room name. So final room is, so this is the current room. And the room has a flag called is idle, which the room is a place where the player can idle. They can read letters, talk to NPCs, and so on. So we can also have rooms that are not idle, which are things like, oh, I'm sneaking around some place that's there are goblins everywhere, and so this is a interesting and important distinction for us, because if every room is idle, then at any point, even when I'm sneaking around, I can like stop and start reading letters or talk to an NPC, or something cool can happen at that point, which is like really doesn't make too much sense. Like if if we have a big event like army approaches, you don't want that to happen when you're like sneaking around the goblin den, right? So that's also when that's when the player can do all the the idle things, like maybe they can wait or they can talk, but also that's when the director can work. So we'll just do, okay, so if the world director is null, then yeah, so first of all, if the player is null, then this is something terrible going on, and we should just go back, right? Player should never be null, I think, right? Well, we could have a game where you're just watching, so that's okay. But like if there's a director, then we want to alternate between the player, and if we're in a idle room, so if room is idle, then we want to alternate between the player and the director. Wait, what? What's this? No. I'm not sure if I want the player. I want this. Okay. So no, this director. It's kind of unnerving that I can access that director from there. But I guess I guess it still makes the most sense, right? You know what? I'll do edge hat so that I kind of so that it's what? Yeah, that's better. Coolio. Okay, so we have that, and in the room roaming situation, it's either player. Oh, okay. So wrong logic. So if the director is null, then we just return the player, and otherwise. Oh, by the way, thank you, Dart, for telling me that this is stupid, right? This, like, you'd think this never happens, but it actually is a source of many bugs in many really even important software packages. So, you know, like where you copy paste something and it's like, if you look at it, it's obviously wrong, but because you have a bunch of other things you know, on your mind, you forget about it. And here Dart is like, look, this is for sure false, because here you're asking is if he's null, and now you're asking again. That's gonna be always false. So lints are important. Thank you. And oh, actually it's better the other way around, sorry. So if director is not null, then, because otherwise we would have to do the same thing here. So if the director is not null, then we find out if we are also in the idle room, and then we can return player and director. Yeah, so, but there is also director. So now we're kind of short-circuiting the get actors here, but I think they're all still. Where are we using the get actors? Maybe? I don't think so. Really? We're never using get actors? Interesting. Why isn't this screaming at us? Why isn't it screaming that we're all writing something that, yeah. This should, I'm sorry, I'm confused. This should be telling us like, hey, get actors is actually implemented in, I guess, a year. I mean, situation. All right, filters the actors that are active in the situation. Oh, okay. I was actually, so get actors is, oh yeah, that's okay. Well, okay, so we have this, and now, and get next turn is something similar. So once again, simulation get next turn. Returns the actor whose turn it is not right now. Returns null when no actor can act anymore. For example, all the actors are dead. So in this case, we're like, yeah. Yeah. All right. So this is also important. This is basically Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna use this. And I'm gonna take our actors is get actors world, and if actors is empty, then we return never. Otherwise, we're basically switching between player and director, right? I think so. So we're like, I'm just gonna use final here. I don't know why, but final actor is actors turn a modulo actors length. So we're, what's going on? Yeah, this is my friend. This is obviously an, oh, this is a terrible false. Yeah. See again, like Dart said today. I forgot that this is not a list, and it was screaming at me like, "Hey, you're trying to access index of a iterable," which is terrible. Okay, so now we're looping over. Basically, if you look at this, it's either just player like all the time because like he's in a dangerous room, for example, or if he's in an idle room, it'll cycle between him and the director. And so now we can just do actor, right? Now things will probably break terribly because director cannot actually do much. So they cannot obviously hire NPCs. So this would be not actor is director. They cannot slay monsters. Not actor is director. And they cannot take an approach if actor is director, return false, short circuiting, and they cannot take implicit approach, which we can just copy over from here. So now basically I think we'll crash because now the director is there, but they can't do anything, right? We need to get into a danger room. I mean idle room. Oh, this is good. Something happened. A lot of happened before we even. She moves the sword between herself and him. He runs right at the, and he falls to the ground. He screams in pain. Tamar holds the sword at him. He tries to roll out of the way, but the sword flies too fast and rams into the goblin's left arm. Left arm goes limp. The goblin yells in pain and briefly covers the wound with his hand. Wow, Tamara is crushing it. He growls and pulls the sword out. It falls down into bed. The goblin smirks. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna. Oh yeah, crash. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. So Oh, a different crash than I expected. Okay. Also, this is not great. This is sometimes good to have, but okay. Is not empty. Yeah. Oh. Right. Yeah, I'm. Oh, sorry. I have lots of questions. Sorry, people. I am getting back to that, but I have so okay. World state has a on line 107. I have an assertion that whenever there's a new actor, they are in the world. Okay, so first of all, any. Right. So we are getting actor by ID. Oh, okay. So we can short circuit here. If director ID is ID, then just return director. Okay. Also, I probably should make this smaller. Okay, now that okay, so I'm getting to questions. Bonatho's my guy. Really curious to see if you picked that up. Yes, that's about the relationships between characters, which definitely something I want to do. Yeah, Vanessa is actually saying something about what I've just been struggling about, that I'm using final in method level constants, the variable to be final, or is it just because of performance? This is not about performance. This is actually, I'm still not sure if this is, I mean, so what Vanoth is talking about is here, I actually using var here, which is completely okay. And then later I'm using final, and both of them are fine. The probably the better approach is to just use var, because it's more readable. Nobody needs to, like, if someone reads the code after you, they don't need to think about like, why is this final, like it's a local variable, what the hell. And the compiler is able to like look at this and be like, yeah, this never changes in this in this, so it's basically like final. There's no performance improvement at all, as far as I know. Why I use this is just because, like, if your method ever gets too long, it is a little bit safer, I think, if you have final for your variable, because, well, imagine this is way too longer, and then I'm like, oh, I also want to say, I mean, that probably never happens, but I could be like, sim get room name by something else, and if it's a var, that's all right, and maybe it's it's fine anyway. Um, but if it's a var, then that's not alright. You know, like, because I should know that the room is already defined. And if it's final, then it will be like, well, you cannot assign a gain to a final variable. So it just I don't know, man. It's force of habit. Force of habit. Yeah. Anyway, hope that clears it up. Not really. And as you can see, the most important thing is to be consistent, right? And I'm not even consistent, so I should definitely not do this. But anyway, yeah, the only thing that I'll say for the benefit of final is that once you do that, you kind of don't need to think about like, oh, do I reassign, do I not reassign, and since in general you should not be reassigning to the same variable, because that means that you're somehow like you know, in one part of your method the object that you're operating on is a different one than on another, then if you can just like don't reassign, and that kind of forces you to do that. Or if I ever say, oh, I actually need to change the actors here, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I should do something, you know, I should do something else, because I either need to do this, or, and much more often, I will do some like filtered, and you know, create a new variable, which again the compiler will just compile all of this away, so it's fine. Good. Okay, so we were here and we are now, and we didn't get the crash that we expected, so let's do it again. Also, yeah, impale, throw. Okay, go to the pyramid. Shouldn't we be? Yes, thank you. So another crash that I wasn't expecting. Planner 127. Planner 127. Yeah. Don't we have a get actor here? Excuse me, we just fixed something like this. We literally just fixed this. Get back, yeah. Okay, let's do it again, and now we'll just be actually, we'll just go here, please. Yeah, another error. This time in planner 8187. Yeah, again, this is a different one, but at least we'll fix these, because these are obviously not using the provided method. So we're fixing bugs. I'm trying to get to a point where I have an error that says there is nothing that the director can do now. Like, they have 0 actions. What, has several duplicates of main actor? Interesting. I wonder if I just broke something. Fractal planner. 144. 293. D get what just happened? What did I do? Get actor by ID, and it should, yeah, it should totally throw here, or yeah. By the way, yeah, I was just thinking, why do I have two asserts which basically both boil down to there should be exactly one actor with this ID, and I remember I'm doing it, and so now I'll document it. I'm using two asserts because the message is then much more concrete. Instead of number of actors with ID is not one, we can say the more helpful, we can show the more helpful messages below. Okay. So once again, we have this get actor by ID, and we'll get the actor or director with actor ID equals ID. Will assert, will throw when there is either no actor with the given ID, or there are several. There are several. All right, back to the planner, and now dim. How did you get to 293? Well, there's several duplicates of main actor. That doesn't seem right. Okay, time to actually try to debug. So okay. So now we are here, and we have actually found two duplicates of actor ID -1. How? How is it possible that we have two duplicates of someone who shouldn't be in actors at all. I think we're adding them to the actors at some point for some reason. For some terrible reason. Probably. Okay. That means that... Alright, so current world actors is a set. Love sets data. ID no, ID nope, ID nope, ID -1, ID -1. So we're adding 2 world actors at some point, and I don't know when. So first I'm just gonna do like something really, find it path actors add. Oh, there we go. Update actor by ID. Yeah, okay. So we're sometimes updating actors by ID outside. Yeah. So what we want to do is if actor if original is director, then director is updated. To builder. All right. Else yeah. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this again. Oh, okay. All right. So turns out the director is also. Oh man, this was probably. Was this a mistake? The director is reading your letters for you. Not great. I wonder if we should like instead of trying to ram the director into the actor's kind of loop, should we just hard code her into the world loop itself? I kind of like the fact that we can say like, yeah, in this situation we actually want the director to be acting once in a while. So that's fine. I think we should just say that. Oh, maybe we should have a type of action called the director action. Yeah, that's probably better. Oh yeah, that's much better. In which case we don't need to do all these like, hey, okay, yeah, this is much better. Cool. So this can get back here, and this as well. This as well. Right? So we're instead of like explicitly saying that something is or isn't a director action, we can just say we can do that in a different way, by which we say, okay, most actions have a is for director or something. Bool get is director action. This action can only be taken by the world state director. Where do we have it? Is director action, and by default it's false, right? So now we'll finally hopefully get the sorry, no, we'll finally get the problem that, oh no, actually, now we need to find out where are we getting the actions that the player is doing. Not here. Yeah, generate all performances, and that's yes. Generate all performances. Generates all applicable actions for actor given a world. Right. Okay, so if action is director action and if action is direction and actor, context actor is director, then we can just give it to him, to her, or do we and return and continue? So okay, so director gets only director actions. Do we want to, like, she might have, oh yeah, she might want to have actions that are actually on some target. So we want to do okay, bool corresponds to director status. Action if action is director action and context actor is director, return true. If action is not director action and context actor is not director, then return true. Otherwise return false, right? So if the actor, if either it's a director action and the actor is not a director, then we're not allowing that. Or if the action is not the director action, and yeah. So there's probably a better way to do this, but so if right, once we have an action, wait a minute, we can do that here, right? Yeah, once we have any kind of action, then we can try this. Right. Yeah, okay. So now for the let's see if we can get finally the kind of crash that I was looking for from the start. Things are always, yes, thank you. No recommendation for director in room roaming situation. This is because we don't have any director actions right now. Whew. Okay. So that's something. So now we can have in room roaming, and notice that it's also like this doesn't bother us, hopefully, that in rooms that are not that are not idle. So like these are not idle, and we can totally just go through, and so it's all good. So now we really have a way to say we have an actor, director, and she does not normally participate in a normal like fights or events or anything like that, but in some situation, currently only room roaming situation, she can act, but right now she doesn't have anything to act, and the system is done so that, and I think that's a good decision, when there's an actor that has their turn and they can do nothing, then that's a bug. Okay, let's give her something. Let's give her a director situation. So which will be an action of nothing. So direct dart. So class direct extends action of nothing. Right. So first of all, we want to do override bool get is director action is true. Cool. And then command path template. This is probably okay. Help message can be null. Is aggressive. Is aggressive is false. These are just is implicit. is true. That's actually nice because this should throw if there are more than one. Is proactive true? The name, and so the class name static const string class name is direct, as in a verb direct. Class name, it's not reliable. This can be null. Unimplemented is better because this will throw where we expect it to. Oh, maybe we should throw it instead. Unimplemented. This is the same. This will always succeed, I think. Get role reason as well. Get success chance is return success. Reason success chance, sure success. Right. Yeah, these all should be void. So let's and it's applicable. Oh, let's do true for now. Okay. So we only need to do apply success now, and we have a new chat message. Venethos, director aggressive is false. Yeah. That's a good one. No, I think we're using aggressive in the sense of is aggressive towards his sufferer, and the reason here that yeah. I mean, it obviously doesn't apply here, but I wonder if it would have some cool implications if we actually said that it was aggressive, because we are using this when we're figuring out whether an actor hates someone else. They will check, did the other person make any aggressive actions towards me or towards my teammates. So it would be an aggressive right now, I think, is just, yeah, that's it. So that would be funny, but because somehow your player will be always like aggressive towards this non-existent person. Okay, I think we will just want to do like the director acted. Right now, that's just all that is, and we want to do. We want to just say, okay, context, storyline, add the earth quakes. Whole sentence true. All right. So now, anytime I'm kind of like idling in a room, I should get the earthquakes. Let's see. Okay, I go here. Every door is shut. I'm like, you know what? I'll just talk to the blind man. Hello. Oh, okay. No recommendation. Oh, I didn't get it. I didn't add it here. So direct. I am extremely Lazy. Everything else is action, so maybe I should make this a direct action, which means this is also direct action. Okay. So once again, we'll see. And let's talk to the blind man. The earthquakes. Cool. Here. All right. That's great. So now we need to somehow figure out how does the director, how does she choose the right action to do? And now we have many options. We could just have like a very simple if else somewhere here, or maybe in simulation, which is like, yeah, when this happens, let's do that, and when something else happens, let's do that. We could also have different direct actions, and then she would try to she would just basically plan as any other NPC does, which that's a little bit like, you know, that's I'm a little nervous about it because it gets the action in the game out of my control too much probably. So oh, you know what, I should probably do this. So I think this should not throw, and that means that yeah, I'm just gonna do like to do and add director. Currently the director does nothing but is ready to act in the room roaming situation. All right, 2 comments today. All right. Okay, so we talked about how we should figure out what happens at some point, and it feels weird to do it here in like room roaming situation. I think she should be directing, she should be defined in the simulation here. Simulation is like the setup of the game that never changes, like the rooms in the game, the main actors in the game. I mean, they change, but like whenever you start the game, you get that. Wait a minute, where's the... Where are we actually using this? How are we creating the simulation? Oh yeah, what? Yeah. So simulation just gets the rooms, the approaches, which are the links between the rooms, and fault functions, which is the ways that different actors think about the world, and then it just... So I think we want another thing into the simulation that says like, it's probably a rule set that's like, if this is happening, then I want to do that. Right. Right. Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I'll do. I'll do a rule set. And I don't think I've ever talked about rule set, but a rule set is like much like in CSS, I guess, is oh wait. Oh, there's lots of messages. Thank you, people, for for actually looking at this. So, John, I do like any code command that includes the word sufferer. Okay, yeah, it's very metal. I'll tell you that. I like how this is something that happens in game development and almost nowhere else, right? Like you can do stupid things like, let's do like sufferer and aggressive move and stuff like that. All right. Yeah, that's Mari is asking a further question, which I'm not going to go into. And Benefis is already answering, so that's awesome. I am going to get into the rule set stuff. So the rule set is do I actually yeah, this probably doesn't tell you much, but basically it's like in CSS, and I know what you're probably thinking now. CSS is like the cascading thing is not something that people mostly associate with good design, but it's actually really helpful, and many game development frameworks either have it or some people create it for themselves. It's like when you have a bunch of if else statements, which basically CSS is what it is, but you don't see it. There's no if else in CSS because it's basically telling you the more specific rules. That it's a rule set. So the more specific rules, if they're true, then that's what you get. If they're not true, then you go to the less specific, less specific, until you go to the bottom and like nothing applies. So this is what scripting in games often is, where you're like, oh cool, yeah, that's passed. Where you're like, I want to just go to like the most specific thing that I can do right now, and that is blah. I don't know. That might be that Leroy is currently undead, and then like he will come into the house of whoever, and there's something happening, but maybe he's not undead, but he's in with you, so it's less specific, and then something happens. So so I think that's what the director should be also based on. Like she should act when there's something very specific that's happening right now and would be cool to show. Then that's what we do, which means we'll create a rule set, and the rule set normally I never actually do myself. Right, I compile it from other things, but it's basically there's a rule, and go to the end of this. Oh, it only applies with the context. Yeah, why not? Okay. Right. Okay. And so the rule could be, okay, so what do we have here? It has a hash, it has a priority, it has the ability to be run only once, which will be probably most of these. And then it has this applicable callback and apply a callback. So it says like, is this like something that we want to do? And then if yes, then that's what we do. And as you can see, this is compiled. So all these things that you see here are just are actually defined somewhere else, and they're just here. But I'm going to steal this, and I'm going to simulation, edge simulation, and I am going to do so final director rule set, edgehead director rule set is this. Excuse me, rule set is something like this. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I want to edgehead simulation. Maybe I'll just create a new thing for this. Director. Or just edgehead director maybe. And that's no. Context, probably world state. Yep. Yeah. Right. Block. Int. And ID plus plus ID plus plus not apply return. Okay, so this is where we're gonna create our rules. So these are the rules that the director in the game will be using whenever there is an idle moment. And yeah, and I have a feeling that at some point we'll be actually compiling this from some other input, but so far so good. Cool. And that means that somewhere here we're like director rule set. Edgehead director rule set. Yep. First of all, yes. And second of all, final rule set, director rule set. Okay. Yeah. We would have something like empty. So simulation empty. Oh, maybe not. If it's just for one. So this is yeah, rule set should be empty. Const rule set empty. And that just means that everything will be null. Yeah, I have this not as a I have it not as a list, and instead I use sorry. Yeah, is null. So yeah, as an optimization, probably again premature optimization strategy, I have the rules not as a list, but as basically like rule 1 to 10. So we don't need to iterate through something. We don't need to create like a special list for something, and it's just basically a struct. But it's to be honest, it's pretty stupid. I shouldn't do it, and at some point I will probably just I'll just create a list, but you know, so create an empty rule set unusable will throw when you try to rule set apply. Okay. Rule set empty and rule set empty. Oh yeah, I don't need any of this. Yeah, this is never used. Okay, that's fine. This is all good. Okay, so we now have a rule set that is attached to the simulation, and that I think here we should just apply. So context simulation rules director rule set apply context, right? Yeah. I think that's what happens, and then this again will probably throw because we haven't really like on none of this is actually applicable. Yeah, so this should throw. I think this throws when you apply. When you apply and there's nothing. Are applicable. So runs the rule set, choosing the most specific rule and running its rule apply callback. This also records the used rule into the history, which is great. And so we go from the first to the other. All right, if rule 1 equals null, throw state error trying to use an empty rule set. Okay, always guard against these things. So we go from 0 to 10 up to until 10, and we get by index. Again, not a great idea to be trying to recreate lists and iterables like that, but this probably wouldn't be fun to make it otherwise. I don't know what I was thinking. So if the rule isn't there, then that means that we don't need to go anywhere else, and then we are actually, every rule has a prerequisite. And then we apply the callback, we record the rule, and yeah, we are completely, yeah, and we are actually, so throws state error when no rule was applicable. Right? I don't think we even need to test this. So actually, just for my sanity, class no rule applicable exception extends exception. No applicable exception. Yeah, rules. No rule was applicable. Implements. Right. Yeah, this is so long since I did anything with exceptions like this. Yeah, we probably need a message here. Final string message. This message. All right. Yeah, this should probably, I think, probably to string, yeah. Yeah. So that probably is the easiest if to just do this to string is message. This is an override. Okay. No rule applicable exception. Right. Okay, so and I think what we want to do now is to just define something cool. So like what does C doesn't give us? So this is always in idle room, so that's fine. So if the actor is hurt, yeah, this is good. So the is hurt player ID. So if the actor is hurt, then we will just say I still hurt. Right? And then the other one will be something like this will be priority 0. And that would be like, what else can we do? Oh yeah, this is priority 0. So this is basically, this is always true. And once again, we'll be doing the earth quakes. So maybe like this. So right now we have this director rule set, and we are saying like these are the rules, and they are. This is only once. This is not only once. Okay, both of are on this. If the player is hurt, the director will like say I still hurt, which again is just like a way for us to figure out if this is really working the way that we expect. And any other time it will say something like the earthquakes. In the finished game, it's probably just going to be something like nothing, just like it will not do anything. Right. So we don't need any of that. Yeah. But we're still not using it, right? Or are we? Oh, we are. Yeah, we already did this. Okay, so let's go. And let's, we're actually 4 minutes before 2 hours of continuous thing. So I think we're almost out of time. Okay, so we first go directly to the village without the fight because we want to be sure that the rule that asks if we're hurt doesn't apply. And so like we read the letter and the earth quakes because that's this rule, right? If we rule the other letter, it should also earthquakes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And now I can go to I can just go west by myself and meet the goblin patrol. And okay, I'll just wait. Oh, Tamara is with me. She shouldn't be with me. Yeah, that's fine. I was pretty sure. Okay, we won, and I didn't want that. So the earth quaked, which is great, and now we are actually going to not take even the dagger and just hope that the goblin swings the rusty sword at Tamara's leg. Okay, I'll just fail at leaping at him. Yeah. I launch at the goblin and he moves the rusty sword between himself. I run through it into my flesh. Tamara swings the sword at the goblin's leg. Okay. I fail at catching it. I attempt to catch the rusty sword in the air, but I am not fast enough. It drills into my right eye. Okay, I am hurt now. I am hurt. I scream in pain. It falls through the... Okay, so I stand up and I punch the goblin and I sweep his feet and I break his neck. This was me cheating. I would probably die if I wasn't. So, but I'm hurt. I have my eye is bleeding at the very least. So if I go towards the pyramid and if I do nothing for a while, if I idle, I still hurt. Yay! I talk to blind man, I still hurt. Yay! Cool. We did it. So to summarize, I mean, this is at the same time, this is less than I thought I would be able to implement and more. So we went through all this epic like rewrite of adding an actor that is not actually physically in the game called the director. And so that brought us a lot of trouble because the game wasn't meant for that. But thankfully we got to a place where the director is like kind of in the world, but it's not in the active actors that normally get represented in any situation. But it was like, okay, we have that. Yeah. So and then after we had the actor and after we went through like 5 layers of different exceptions. Now we have a way to kind of script things through a rule set, and the rule set will just like go and it's similar to CSS in that it takes the one rule that is the most specific to the current it's the most specific and also true in the current environment. And so in the end we implemented a rule set that like has one rule that is a little specific, that says if the player is hurt, then do this, and the other one was if like basically it's a fallback scenario. If nothing else happens, then we just say the earthquakes. Obviously this is not going to survive for too long, this rule set, but it's something, right? Cool. So now we have this system where we can kind of add a little dynamism into the world, and also little things like, like if you're somewhere and just doing nothing, then we will throw things at you. All right. Okay, I see a bunch of things about Flutter. Okay, so yeah, not going to. Sorry, people. I'm not going to go into Flutter right now. Philip, one question. I saw a method that had 7 arguments called rules. Is there varargs for Dart? Yeah, there's no varargs for Dart, and as I said, like I was super idiotically like over optimizing something that's stupid, and I will rewrite it. This is probably what I'll do just now after I end the stream. Like I will just like remove that thing, and it's just gonna be a list, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to have any performance implications. What's a super Saiyan mode? I have no idea. I have to find out. Okay. So much joy over being heard. Yes, I love when things happen in the game that I'm not expecting, and obviously in this case it was also not only did I not expect to get hurt in the eye, but it's also well, I wanted to be heard so that I could check that this works, and that this is the cool and bad thing about this is the unpredictability, because if I want to try and get hurt, it's very possible that Tamara, my like NPC, will just kill the goblin, and then I have to go around the world trying to get hurt some other way. So this was good luck for me. Oh, my hair. Okay. Good. My hair is still alive. All right. Folks, thank you for watching. I think I'm pretty fine. As I said, I'm both fine and how do I do this? So I'm both happy and unhappy about like what I did in the last 2 hours, but I think I'm in the right direction, and I now know that this is possible and okay, and nothing breaks terribly. So I'm looking forward to having a world that is more dynamic and having different things to work on. Cool. Next week, I'm not sure if next week is happening or not. Probably it should, but you never know. And yeah. Thanks for watching, and please comment on the video in the on the live channel. Those comments, like I don't have easy access to them. I think they're saved somewhere, but I'm not sure. So if you have other questions about the thing that you would like me to answer and be out there, then comment on the video itself once it gets published, which should be pretty pretty soon after I end this stream. So thank you again so much for watching, and see you next time.